everybody, and welcome back to a horror game from scratch. In today's episode, we're going to be playing Rocket League. Did I ever mention I'm in Rocket League? But no, seriously, if you remember, what we did is we made it so if we pick up this quote-unquote key, we press the reload map button, which I just realized, I do still have it. It will go ahead and delete that key, make sure it is still gone. But of course, we were left with an issue where if we change sessions, so let's say the player left the game, re-entered the game, the key remains there. So today we're going to make sure we fix that, make sure we can have a save system that loads between game sessions. To do this, we're actually going to make use of the game instance again. The game instance is an amazing place to put things that need to be saved, simply because it's also a great place to have your save and load system. So by having all that put together, it's all just kind of already there for you. I haven't taken my meds yet. So let's go ahead and create a new function within our game instance. If yours is not open, remember the place we put it was in content, dark BPs, or whatever yours is, systems, and then you should have a game instance. All right, on the functions, let's go ahead and hit plus, and we're gonna call this save game, just like that. And what we're gonna be doing, so let's clarify, let's make sure everyone's on board. When you save a game, and I don't mean just put variables in the game instance, I mean you save a game. So like, let's say you're playing Skyrim, because I use that example every time, and you save the game, it's making a file on your computer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be making a file on the user's computer. And luckily, Unreal has made this very simple. The first thing we can do is immediately just go pull out of the execution pin and type, does save game exist? Do you understand how nice it is that this node is here? We don't even gotta look, it knows. It's like, does this, which by the way, slot name and user index. User index is gonna be used for things like multiplayer, whereas the slot name is gonna be like, let's say you make a Skyrim character and you name it Tyler. Well, Tyler the Nord would be the slot name. So we're only going to cover one for right now, but if you wanted to expand and have multiple save slots, what you would do is create an additional variable that gets saved upon loading a game, which we're going to do as well. That would just save the name of the game that just got loaded, and then later you would just plug that in and say, hey, this is the save slot we're working with. Is it there? Okay, so does the save game exist? We're going to hold B and we're going to click and get that branch node. We're going to plug our execution pin in, and this return value is going to let us know, which I will go ahead and type it in. Right click on that branch. Does the save game exist? It's a little bit redundant considering we have this one right here, but whenever you get used to commenting your branches, you get used to looking for branches to see the logic in a lot faster of a data processing method. So it's still better to just go ahead and comment it. So does the save game exist? If it does not exist, because right now it doesn't exist, guess what we're gonna do? Create save game object. It's that easy. However, you'll see right now we have a save game class, and we have a save game local and enhanced user input settings. Nothing that we're going to use here. So what we're going to do is within systems, I'm just going to right click and create a new blueprint class. And under all classes, I'm going to search for a save game. You can do local, but just it's better to do save game. Hit select, and I'm just going to call this the SG for the save game, and then underscore the name of the game, but in this case, I'm just gonna do horror game from scratch. Control-Shift-S to save all. And for now, don't worry about opening this. We'll just go ahead and select it here. So now we've got our save game. We're gonna go ahead and create that. Now, at first, you might not completely understand why we're about to do what we're about to do, but it makes life easier in cases where we're gonna expand upon the save and load system. So for now, just accept it. Under the return value, pull out, and we're going to go ahead and promote this to variable, not local. Do not press local. You want the regular one. And I'm going to go to the left-hand side here, and I'm going to just rename this save game. If you, I can't. Oh, I can't because I made a function named save game. Instead, I'll just do save game ref for reference. And that's what that is. So basically, if it doesn't exist, we're going to create it, and we're going to go ahead and make a reference to it. And the reason we're doing that is so now anytime in our logic we need access to the save game, we've got a reference. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so if it doesn't exist, we're going to go ahead and create the save game, and then we're going to set it. However, if it does exist, we're going to pull out of that execution pin, and we are going to just load game from slot. And of course, in this case, you'll just go ahead and plug in your slot name, the user index. Moved my nodes a little bit. But yeah, so we loaded game from slot. We have a slot name, the user index. Again, this has to do with multiplayer. However, there's an issue. If we were to pull out of this and immediately save it to a variable like we did here, you'll actually see the issue. If I was to plug this in and use this node across both, you'll see this doesn't work. The best way to learn is to test yourself. And I'm not just saying that as like a milady or some weird shit. It's serious. It's science. So take a quick second. Why do you think this will not plug into this? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And here's the thing. Don't be scared to be wrong. In fact, hope that you are wrong, because if you need to know something, test yourself on it. And if you're wrong and you see that you were wrong, you have a much higher chance of remembering the next time. Little life hack for you. Don't like to call them hacks. Don't know why I said that. Social media is a corruption. So the reason this won't plug in is because right here, we are creating specifically the SG horror game from scratch, the thing we created. When we load game from slot, it doesn't know what it's loading. It's just loading some shit. So it can't then turn around and be like, oh, I guarantee this will fit into this. You see why that's an issue? So there's just one additional step. This is one of the rare cases where casting perfectly fine. So outside of this return value, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast to the SG underscore horror game from scratch, just like that. And we're going to pull this bottom node right on over, and then we can plug straight into here. And the only reason I'm doing it like this is to keep the code nice and clean. You can see a very easy set of two paths of logic, right? We've got it exists, it doesn't exist. It's very simple. And you can even do that, by the way. I like to make comments within comments. Like, obviously, I'll probably comment the whole thing. But, like, right here, I could just comment this and hit save game exists. Grab the bottom half. Save game does not exist. Like that. And then, look, it's so much easier to even see from here. I can go, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. However, in my ADHD mania... I forgot we do need to have a slot name. So even if you're going to follow along with me and we're going to have one save game, we still need a slot name. So we're just going to call it game 1, just like that. And game 1. The only reason I'm calling it game 1 and not just like game is so later on, if we do want to add more, we just add a number to the end, right? Game 1, game 2, blah, 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 blah. It's hot in this room. I'm gonna go turn the AC on. If you hear it in the rest of the video, I'm sorry. All right, does the save game exist? If yes, go ahead and load it. If not, go ahead and create one, and then no matter what, let's create a reference. Now remember, in this case, we are very specifically saving the game. This is the save game function. So before we continue, we need to actually open up the save game we created. And you're gonna notice it's a lot like a game instance. It's like a primitive blueprint. There's not much going on here. Well, that's because, again, just like the game instance, it's just holding data. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our game instance so we can see right now we only have our saved actors. We have this array of saved actors, which is a list of things that needs to react to the fact it's on the list. So in this case, we pick the key up. The key knows it's on the list. It removes itself from the level. So in our save game, we're going to go ahead and just mimic that variable. We're going to go ahead and just do saved actors, which, by the way, I just remembered. I was like falling asleep and had this realization. I didn't tell you guys. It is important that when you do a primitive save system like this, you're going to need different save actor variables per level. So honestly, if I was you, what I would do is do like saved actors. Oh, it saved and then made me not typing anymore. Yeah, I would do saved actors underscore the name of the level. Then whenever you load those actors up, like remember the logic we put in the level blueprint, call the level that is there. Because when you do a soft reference, that soft reference is going to be like, I am watching for key 1. Well, key 1 and your other level is not the same key. I wish I was able to go back in time and add that to the previous episode, but if you've made it this far, please do that. Because remember, we are making a very primitive save system. This is the easiest way you can make it, and then if there's enough demand, we'll come back and expand upon it. but those are per level. So we're just going to do the one level for me for right now. So we're going to do save actors. The variable type is going to be, we'll go to actor, and remember we need that soft object reference, and we need to right click the dot, make it an array, hit save and compile. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of self-contained coding. Is that what it's called? Encapsulation is what it's called. It's a very good practice. So yes, what we could do is right now, because we've saved and compiled, is we could go to the game instance and out of our save game ref, because we know for a fact it is the horror game from scratch save game. We could pull out right now, watch, get saved actors. There it is. And we could set it too. That's not encapsulation. Encapsulation basically says, hey, I am an object and I will take care of myself. If you need something, feel free to request, but do not do it for me. So instead of doing what I just did, we're going to go to the save game and we're going to right click. We're going to hit a custom event. And I'm just going to call this, we're going to start the naming convention with save, because that's what it does immediately. Like that's what we're doing. So save underscore saved actors, and if it's you and you have multiple levels, underscore level blah 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 blah. Okay, I don't, so right now we're just gonna make a custom event called saved actors, and I'm going to require an input of the saved actors. It is going to be an actor object with a soft object reference, and of course I need to change that to an array as well. So compile and save. And then all I have to do is save the saved actors, is simply take the one that's in the save game and set it. So we'll take the incoming saved actors and set it to the saved actors in the save game. So now in our game instance, after we make that reference, we're just going to pull out, and now we can just do save saved actors. And look, there's the request instead of us manually doing it from the outside. And look, all we have to do now is take the one we want to save and plug it in just like that. And we can hit save and compile. I'm getting a video I want to show you really quick, because this is what made me realize what encapsulation was and why it's important. Also, fantasy cartoon gore trigger warning. But again, fantasy cartoon gore, not real. So it wasn't this video in particular, but this example that made me realize why encapsulation is important and good. So in the game Starcraft, you'll see that you've got some weird alien dudes on the left-hand side here, and we've got some Marines with guns on the right-hand side here. What we're going to do is I'm actually going to play this at a very slow speed, because I want to show you what's happening logistically. Right now, you've got some Marines firing at this zealot. And I'm actually sad he doesn't have health bars on, because it would make this a lot more easy. So on the left side, they have shields. Whenever this Marine shoots this alien, the Marine's logic is not reaching in to the alien and then going, rip your shields out. Like, you need to lower your shields. I've shot you. No. The Marine is telling the zealot, that's what it's called. The Marine is telling the zealot, I have done 5 damage to you. The zealot then responds however the heck it's programmed to respond. Again, the Marine is not ripping into the zealot's programming and telling it, your shields have lowered. It's sending a request. Believe it or not, even in a situation where the logic or the gameplay is war, all this stuff is simply nicely asking each other. It's being like, hey, like look how many requests this guy's getting. He's getting requests out the ass to lower his health. And whenever it hits 0, he has logic of his own to explode and die. Again, these Marines did not kill that zealot. The zealot killed himself upon request. Actually, he didn't even technically do that. The zealot, upon request, lowered his HP to 0, in which case additional programming killed the zealot. Do you understand? Do you understanding encapsulation? You need to be practicing this because it is so important. Does the save game exist? Yes. Okay, great. Grab it and cast over so we know it's the right one and then set it. No, go ahead and get that created. And then we're gonna go ahead and save our saved actors. And I want to show you that this does indeed work already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to my input. So we'll go to input, actions. I'm going to open up oh wait, I did the wrong thing. I'm actually going to go over to first person blueprints, first person character, and then within the enhanced input action of debug, what I'm going to do is on started. Actually, you know what? We need to go make an interface for this. I apologize. That's the ADHD. Let's go to Dark BP's interfaces. And this can be, well, I guess save load makes sense. We'll go ahead and open up save load. And I'm going to just do a save request like that. And the good news is save request doesn't really need anything. It's just you letting the game instance know that you're trying to save the game. So that should be fine. We'll head back to our first person character. And upon started, we're not even going to do that. We're going to type in get game instance, like that. Then out of get game instance, we're going to type in save request, specifically the message. And then out of started, we'll put in the execution pin. So now when I hit my debug button, because normally we'd want an interface for this, but for now we're testing, we're going to go ahead and put it on the debug button. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my files, go to wherever your projects are at, and open up your horror game from scratch, or whatever you've got yours called folder. And you'll see that we have a folder named saved. I'm going to open this up. Then I'm going to go over to the first person map. I'm going to hit play. Now, you remember the issue. The issue is being we can pick this up and I can reload the map as many times as I want. It knows it's there. It's not going to remove it. But if I was to close the thing and then reopen it, obviously the game instance is now reset. However, if we hit F, which runs the pick up the key button, and then if I press my debug button, which should save the game, if I Alt-Tab, by the way, we gotta teach the game instance what to do when it receives that message. So we're gonna go ahead and go to class settings, and we do need to add the save load interface to the game instance. Compile and save. Then we need to hit the save request on the left hand side under interfaces, and of course run our save game function. All I did, by the way, to get that is simply click and drag over from functions, and now it should work. All right, so we'll hit play. I'll go pick up the key. I'll press Q. You can see it did get rid of it. Now I'm going to press the save game button. All right, let's debug this together for learning purposes. Access none trying to read, property save game ref, save game actor. Here, let's go take a look. If we click on it, it should bring us straight to it. Access none trying to run this, huh? Oh, it says it got access none getting the save game ref. Interesting. Oh, unfortunately we can't make this simple. I apologize. Let's go ahead and copy this and paste it into the bottom half as well. Plug this one back in there, and then just run this straight to here. Unfortunately, I think there's just an error in the logic that I'm not quite seeing, but it should be fine. That should fix it. So let's go ahead and hit compile and save. We'll run up to the key, pick it up, reload the level. It is indeed in there. So now what I'll do is I'll hit the save button. And now, because I didn't get any errors, if we head over to saved, that folder I told you to open, it's been a hot minute since I've done this. This has been a mess of an episode. I apologize, and I appreciate you sticking with me. After you have obviously saved everything up to this point, like you've gotten the reference and all that, you then have to save game to slot. That is completely and utterly my fault for forgetting that. And of course, the save game object Oh, well, here we go. This is why we need the reference. We have the reference we created. Go ahead and pull it out. Do a git. Plug that into the save game object. Save game slot. I'm going to continue to just use my game 1 naming convention here. Compile. Save. Apologies for the chaos. Okay. Pick the key up. It's gone. Reload the level. It's still gone because it's in our game instance. Press the save game button. Now, when I alt-tab, you'll see we have a save games folder. There it is. And because it's there, it's not going to work yet. Well, let me show you what I mean. If I exit and I re-enter, it's still going to be there. But the reason I didn't fix that is because I wanted to show you what's happening. It's still there because we've saved the file. Now we need to load the file, okay? This is where, honestly, you kind of need to document what you're doing ahead of time. Here's why. Let's go ahead and open up the level blueprint, okay? On our event begin play, what we're doing is, well, I bind some events from earlier, but remember, we're telling it to load the saved actors from the game instance. We need some set of logic in order for this to work, because right now we have the file saved, but we need to load the file. If this was to run before the file loaded, nothing would happen because this doesn't exist yet. So this is where it's important to just document what you're doing so you can easily quick access reference it. I really like Google Docs for this kind of stuff. However, what we're going to do is we're going to just make some space for the time being. We're going to go ahead and in the save load interface, we're going to hit add function load game request. And in fact, I'm going to change my save request to save game request. The reason I'm doing that is because look at the top, we have load actor requests. That request is specifically for our actor list, and that could change to different stuff like lights or however you want to set it up. But we're going to use the naming convention of save game and load game when we're talking about making a save file. However, I'm actually out of time. I've got to go to my job. So honestly, I'm still going to make the next episode about loading because I need to finish this up. But try to do it without me. I'm telling you, you have all the pieces. You've learned enough up to this point, you could totally do it. The only thing I'm going to remind you about is, let's go to the level blueprint. Remember, the game instance needs to load all that data in before this gets requested. That's your only hint. Sorry for the homework. We're going to go over it anyway. But seriously, try it. Remember earlier when I said failing or testing yourself is the best way to actually learn something? Try to fail. Well, don't try to fail, but you know what I mean. Give it a shot. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.